A group of Japanese soldiers marched out of a dark tunnel, moving in perfect unison. They looked like ghosts, silent, expressionless, almost unreal. Without a word, they all lowered their weapons at the same time. Just then, the squad leader stepped forward and gave his report. The officer looked at them with a mix of fear and helplessness, because deep down, he knew these men were already dead. They had all been killed in battle. Only the officer had survived, captured, and recently released. On his way home, passing the same tunnel, something strange happened. A dog suddenly appeared, covered in explosives, glowing red under the dim sky. It barked wildly at him, as if trying to warn him, but the officer, tired and confused, brushed it off and entered the tunnel alone. The dog didn't follow. Inside, it was pitch black and eerily quiet. By the time he reached the other side, night had fallen. Suddenly, he heard footsteps behind him. One of his old soldiers walked out of the tunnel. The officer froze. He recognized the man, but he had seen him die on the battlefield. The soldier looked puzzled. He asked. I remember going home, eating the food my mother cooked. The officer took a step back, heart racing. He gently told the soldier, yes, you died. What you remember was just a dream. The soldier stood at attention, then said softly, my parents don't believe I'm dead. They're still waiting for me. He pointed to a house in the distance, the lights glowing in the windows. That's my home. They're still waiting for me to come back. The officer felt a deep sorrow. He stepped forward and said, you died in my arms. I'm sorry. The soldier finally accepted the truth. He saluted the officer, then turned and walked back toward the tunnel. But then, more footsteps echoed through the darkness. The entire third squad appeared, uniforms perfect, rifles in hand. As they had done so many times before, they gave a full salute and proudly announced, third squad reporting, no casualties. The officer, filled with guilt and regret, told them the truth. He said he had suffered too, as a prisoner of war, but the damage was already done. War had taken everything, and no one could bring the dead back. The soldiers stood still, silent and unwilling to leave, so the officer gave them one final order. Third squad, about face. The ghostly soldiers turned in perfect unison. March! They marched, step by step, back into the darkness of the tunnel. The officer stood there, silently saluting them one last time. Moments later, the dog with explosives appeared again. It snarled, growled, and bared its teeth. It wasn't just a warning now, it was a cry of grief and rage. A cry for those who died in a war that never should have happened.